I'm Kelly Mitchell.
And I'm Debra Traben.
And we're
Women
on Wine TV. Aloha, Debra. I'm feeling very Hawaii-ish because I just got back. And so I had to put aloha there. How are you today?
I'm feeling very bonjour. How's that?
Ooh, oui.
Woo-woo.
Awesome. I'm so excited. We have two of our favorite chicas in the wine business, and they're from Oakridge Winery. This is Shelly and Raquel of the Maggio family in Lodi. These guys are off the hook, amazing, fun, personality plus, and enigmatic, charismatic, as you will see momentarily. But these guys actually their family began planting grapes in 1925 in Lodi, California. And I'll tell you what, experience comes with fab wine. So, but before we take off, the word for the show today is Lodi. When we have a word for the show and that word is repeated, that means whatever's in your glass, you take a sip of. Doesn't matter if it's water, if it's fabulous Pinot Noir, whatever. Just take a sip and honor that little word for the show. And we're going to begin with a quote. She was unstoppable, not because she did not have failures or doubts, but because she continued on despite them. And that's from Beau Taplin of Unstoppable. So these two women are unstoppable, as your wow women are. And I'd like to start with what's in your glass and welcome Raquel and Shelly Maggio to the show. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Hello.
Great to have you here. And we would love to hear today what's in your glass and any little nuances or notes that you want to share with us about the wine you're drinking.
We have our OZB Old Vine Zinfandel
From Lodi.
It's the number 5 selling Zinfandel in the United States.
It is an amazing Zinfandel. I attest to that. And I absolutely love that Zin. Debra, how about you? What's in your glass today?
Well, I also have a Lodi wine in my glass. This is actually the Silk Oak 2013 Cab Merlot blend. Okay, this is a dark chocolate, dark berries, dark mocha. Oh my Lord, with a little bit of vanilla to kind of soften it all out, cream it on down on the finish. It is so delicious. I cannot wait to make myself a beautiful steak and have the rest of this bottle all to myself since I am a bachelorette today.
I love it. And there's nothing like wrapping yourself up with that kind of silk to keep you warm at night.
We should quickly mention this is actually one of these lovely ladies' brands, which we're going to talk about later.
Is. From Lodi.
Yes, from Lodi.
And so in my glass is the esteemed Old Soul Pinot Noir. Here's a peek at the bottle. I actually ran into this in Lee Summit, Missouri. They said it was one of the fastest selling Pinots that they had ever had in stock. So what I love about this is actually it's a blend, so it's Pinot and Zin, but there's floral notes like initially, and then what takes over for me is the blackberry and the cherry and the raspberry, and it's just one of those, when you hear fruit forward, this is fruit forward, and it just warms you up from the tip of your nose down to your chinny chin chin.
I love it.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to Lodi wine.
So this wine is in your blood. You could say that your blood probably runs, Pinot to Zinfandel and Cabernet. I would love to hear, ladies, a little bit about how your family got involved in the wine business, because this is a long time. It's been going on for a long time.
Yes. It started, our family came from Italy and purchased land in like 1930s. and we were growers for years and years and years, and still are. And then our family purchased the winery, and here we are.
That's beautiful. So I think was the winery purchased in like 2002?
Yes.
August of 2002.
So you became literally experts at growing grapes, and some of the best grapes. I mean, where do these grapes end up?
Today, they all come here to Oakridge.
To Oakridge. I love that. And Debra, I know you have a question.
Okay, so just a little bit of background for everybody who's listening. Kelly and I have actually been out to Lodi to tour the facility and meet with these lovely ladies a couple of times in person. We've had lots of delicious Lodi wine with them. What I would love for everybody to know is how much wine you actually produce. Like, give them that jaw-dropping number so that they can sip right along with us.
We produce 350,000 case goods annually. Yes.
Did you hear that?
How many acres is that? Like, how many acres?
Oh.
All together with the other families that are involved, it's about 12,000.
12. I can't even wrap my head around 12,000 acres. So those of you who have a half acre that your house sits on and you think you're like sitting pretty on a big plot of land, imagine 24,000 of those, and then you've got the Maggio vineyards.
That's right. That's hysterical. I love it. So how did
I would love to hear, so you're all family, and we know blood is thicker than water and also thicker than wine. How difficult is it working with family, and what are some of the difficult parts of running a wine business? Because those are two very big things.
As far as family work, I think it's pretty easy dealing with family because you can really tell each other honestly what you feel, and you're not afraid to tell it.
Yeah.
And the daily decisions is probably the hardest part of running the winery.
And when you're talking about daily decisions, can you kind of qualify those for us? Like, let us know what some of the tough decisions are. Who gets the grape?
I didn't hear. Repeat that.
I said, who gets the grapes?
Yeah. Yeah, how much you're
or how many
pay.
cases of a vintage to produce?
Yeah, how much it costs per case for production. I mean, you have to get that down, pretty nailed down. Costing on materials, just employees, dealing with the employees.
Sales, which is the most important part.
Our sales team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens when you don't agree? Like,
really never, in all honesty, it really never happens.
We work it out. If we do, I mean, everybody disagrees, but ultimately,
but I mean, to a point that.
But we'll work it out. We'll each give our side and work it out from there, and usually it works out, for the better. So it's pretty easy to deal with.
I love that.
I love it.
Debra and I do rock, paper, scissors. We haven't had to use that yet, though.
No, we haven't had to use it, but I actually look forward to the day where we actually can. Because I still have to look up the rules for Rochambeau or whatever it is that the Hawaiians call it.
Oh, Junkampo.
Junkampo.
I've been off the island all of like 2 days, and I can't remember stuff anymore. It's all that Polynesian paralysis. So, ladies, I would love to hear from the perspective of marketing wine. Like, what are the things that you look at from because it's so strategic, and producing 350,000 cases of wine, that takes like literally a machine to move the wine. How do you make that machine run, and what do you do when it gets stuck or slow? How do you push it along?
Well, we have a great sales force.
Yeah, we have a national sales. Actually, we're international also. So we have our national team and also international. So they work very well together.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And how do you keep them? Go ahead.
And our cost, we like it to be fairly, $10 to $15 bottle of wine. So we want to be in that area so that we know that the wine is going to move. But it's like you're getting a $25 bottle of wine with the quality that's in our bottle. So I think that has a lot to do with it also, is that you're getting a great price.
Affordable. Yeah.
And a fantastic package and what's inside of the bottle. So
what's inside of the bottle is quite fantastic.
Yeah. Lodi grapes are delicious.
Woo!
There's Lodi. So I have a question for you. So when we were there, we're in this tasting room. It's this ridiculously large wine barrel that's been cut in half.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a fun experience, but you have multiple labels. So let's kind of start there. How many labels do you have under kind of the Oakridge Winery family?
Let's see, let's count.
12, 15.
Yeah, 12 labels. Yeah.
So that's a lot of different labels. And of course, we met the winemaker. So who and how do you decide which wine goes in which label? Like, that just blows my mind. Is it just like eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Or is there a specific flavor, palette, or profile that goes with each different label?
There's a profile that Q follows. And, well, OZB is its own entity, basically. But other labels, he knows what's going to sell in that bottle.
And it depends if it's oaked or not. It depends the price point. So if it's how long it's oaked, or that it all determines what cost or end up cost will be for the bottle.
So the longer it's in oak, the more expensive?
Yes.
Ooh,
like
that's
the
cool enough.
That's $17 retail.
And the Moss Rocks.
I missed the last part. What did you say?
Moss Rock. The Moss Rocks. The Ancient Vine Zinfandel.
Ah, got it. Okay. Ancient Vine Zinfandel is always more expensive, right?
Yeah.
That is so fabulous. I'm curious, from the standpoint of, like, we stood outside these cylindrical UFOs that were they're like 100 feet up. How much wine is in those? Like, one of those, like, could you turn a tap on and literally fill 50,000 cases maybe?
One of those tanks that you saw is 100,000 gallons.
100,000 gallons, and there are many of those tanks involved as well. What is the challenge when you are creating labels? Like, you have 12 brands right now that you're working with. Do you talk about creating different labels often, or is it something that, we're going to stick with the 12 brands? What is the strategy behind that, and how do you determine when to bring a new brand on board?
We have she's actually part of the family. She's our graphic artist. Her name is Nicole, and she's constantly working on improving our labels, new labels, redesigning. So she does that 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So
wow, that is incredible. Okay, Debra, question.
So
Lodi.
Yes, Lodi. That's 3-4 sips, ladies. So we've obviously covered the fact that your family is incredibly successful in the space, that it's wine, but you have actually other industries that your family is part of. So kind of give an idea of outside the wine space, what else you, shall we say, dabble in, and how that all kind of works together in the family perspective.
Love that.
Yeah, Well, we also are winery owners plus growers. We also do custom farm work for other farmers and irrigation installation. And
trucking company that
Wow.
transfers wine and grapes, the fruit.
Do you
Picks up.
sleep
Do I sleep?
ever?
Not very well. That's why I got bags under my eyes.
Oh no. We're gonna have to drag you to Hawaii or something like that. I honestly think. Share with us, if you will, some of your proudest moments. If you think back, both of you, to your start in the wine industry and where you are now, individually and as a company, what are some of the proudest moments? Because I know you guys walk away with a lot of those medals.
Yes.
Those are proud moments.
Yes. I personally, just seeing the growth from when it was purchased to now is amazing. I think that all the hard work that's been put in has been, paying off. So I think that's the proudest moment.
That's excellent. Debra.
See that, the growth from the beginning to now.
We have to cheer our dad to
Yeah,
what a great job he's
Yeah.
done.
Oh, agreed. Oh, your dad is.
Cheers, Dad.
Cheers.
Thank you for the opportunity to drink fabulous wine from Lodi.
From Lodi. Yes, take a sip. So my question, so I love, it's not just one thing. You kind of, you put your heart and soul into the entire industry. So if you were talking to somebody who was thinking about starting their own winery, like what one piece of advice do you wish somebody had given you before you kind of jumped into the winery part?
We really didn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Like, oh, we're winemakers.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the work that it entails.
Yeah, it's
a lot of work.
It's nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we got from you when we were down talking with the two of you, is that, I think most of us kind of think, oh, wouldn't it be fabulous to own a winery someday? Woo, wouldn't it be? And it's like, really, it's not as glamorous as one might think. So that's a great point. Interview, maybe talk with other winemakers before they actually jump in. That would be something they should do, right? To find out that there's a farming element and a marketing element and a whole slew of things that they have to do in order to be successful.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the other thing is people don't realize that many winemakers need to be farmers. I mean, you don't have to be, it's not a requirement, but that's a huge asset to being a good winemaker, right?
Yes, it is.
You see it from the dirt to the bottle. So yeah, it's important.
Ooh, dirt to the bottle. That'd be a great handle.
That's a great quote. We need to put shh about the handle. we need to put that in all our tweets. Dirt to the bottle.
Yeah,
that is beautiful.
I love that.
A quote from Raquel. I love it.
Yes, I think what's really interesting, and we had this conversation. We've talked about this on other episodes before too. Is it's not all wineries grow their grapes, and not all grapes are grown where the winery sits.
Exactly.
So how do people like outside of Lodi find you? Like, what's the process if somebody's saying, I really don't want to grow my own grapes, but I'm interested in juice or, kind of going down that path. How does that work?
There's brokers out there that contact us.
Are you talking about other growers selling their grapes to the winery?
So if Kelly and I were like, hey, we want to bottle our own wine, but we don't want to grow it. We're kind of looking for a place to get juice. Like, so the first place we would go as, non-growers, non-wine industry owners, we would go to a broker that would call you, or, what's the process of that? That's such an unknown, right?
It would be like a broker, and then you would send out samples if they like the juice and go from there.
Yeah, we also deal a lot in bulk. Yes.
Excellent. I would love for people to hear about the science behind the flavors, because I thought, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I'm never going to let go of this story though, because my wine journey has been, being on a little island in the middle of nowhere. Safeway was our biggest resource for fine wines. And then when you get out there, I'm thinking like Menahunis, or dropping droplets, or maybe throwing in the occasional blackberry when nobody's looking. Right?
I freaking love this story. This
or leather.
kills
Somebody
me.
throws in, here's a couple of, droplets of leather extract.
Oh my God.
In all reality, how do wines glean their flavor, their notes, and their flavor?
It comes basically from the soil.
And do you have to put blackberries in the soil to get it to taste like blackberries?
We could if you want us to.
Maybe we should try a new breed.
Oh my God.
Or are you letting goats loose?
Yeah.
You have eaten blackberries, right?
Pardon me?
What's that?
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I said, are you letting goats loose that have eaten blackberries in the vineyards,
no!
right?
No!
There's a lot of people who are as naive about this process as I was.
I love it. You are like opening the kimono to the world here. Are there Menahuni dropping in blackberries? That is your quote of the show. I am dying.
And where the hell does the wet stone come from?
But
Right?
They're not pulling one over on me. Obviously, the wet stone people have never been to Lodi, and they are missing out.
Oh, sip.
We would not let them get away with that, would we?
No way. Oh my goodness. I am dying. So, ladies, was your first label Oakridge, or when you bought in 2002, were all these labels already existent?
no,
It's not. So, what was the first?
Oakridge was the one that we
had Gnarled Vine,
and we had Oakridge.
Oakridge, then OZV, then Moss Rocks, then Silk Oak was here when we purchased the winery.
Yeah, that was.
And then a lot of people remember Whitetail. This is the winery where it was produced.
Because it used to be a co-op, a winery co-op, and
Oh, wow.
because the winery that was built in 1934. It's the oldest operating winery in Lodi, continually operating winery in Lodi. And so when the co-op dissolved, then it was purchased.
Got it. So it started with, there was just a couple. And so did you acquire the other labels, or was somebody like, ooh, it's time for us to create another one, and you designed it from scratch?
From scratch.
Yes.
Silk Oak we kept though. So we still.
But it was redesigned. Yeah.
So which label
Has Nicole been on board since day one with the branding?
Pardon me?
Nicole, it's Nicole, right? Who's been branding? Has she been on board doing these brands from day one as far as the design?
5 years.
5 years. That's awesome. That's incredible. So where can people, we did have one question that somebody asked about, can I buy these in Denmark or Germany? What label can I find them under in Denmark or Germany? Do we have an answer for that, or is that something that we can get back to this individual with?
Yeah.
We're in Sweden.
Sweden.
Well, yeah, but that's bulk.
Sounds like we have a customer in Denmark and Germany, and we'll figure out. I'll be talking to Brian about how to leverage that.
Okay.
Yes. Woo!
You got to get Lodi out to Germany and Denmark. I mean, honestly, for an entire wine, an entire line of wines to taste at the level that yours do, to perform at the level that they do, it's not about the price point. This is about an entire line of quality wines that, you end up with some winemakers and they'll have one that doesn't taste that good, but it's, $10 a bottle, and something else that tastes a little bit better. But for you guys, it's like there's a taste for everybody. There's a price point for everybody, and you're not sacrificing the quality. You really just, you don't, which is amazing.
Important thing is to be consistent with your product. You should taste the same every time you buy a bottle.
Yes.
That's very important.
I love that. Debra, question.
I think my question would be, so you've been so successful with kind of adding and scaling as a winery and as wine brands. What kind of advice do you have for maybe somebody who has one label and they're thinking, gosh, maybe I'm ready for a second label? Like, what advice would you give a winemaker that was ready to kind of take that next step? What would you want to have known, maybe?
Well, it depends, I think, what varietals they have to put in the bottle, too. You could have several varietals under one label, too. So, it's...
Yeah, you don't have to have a totally different label. Just put it a different varietal.
Yeah.
Like a Zinfandel and a Cab.
So they might try like blending something instead and kind of adding to their suite under their current. That's a great bit of advice, because what I love about the Oakridge kind of the family is that there are like the OZV, which is obviously Zin, and it's like where you kind of showcase that gorgeous grape that you obviously all love, but you can also get a little bit of Zin in some of the other wines. So you kind of tease it. I love it.
And these are the wines from Lodi.
Well placed, ladies.
I would love to bring up the fact, of Lodi. Okay, so we're talking about Lodi. That's 3 now, ladies. To me, and again, not somebody being super familiar with Northern California countryside, I thought that Napa was where the wine industry started and ended. And we're finding other places are starting to experiment with growing vines. In particular, like England that just blows my mind. England, UK is now starting to grow vines. But Lodi is like one of the best kept secrets. I would like to hear from you guys what makes it a prime territory for growing grapes and why this could be an even better place than Napa to procure your wines from.
Well, the climate is exactly the same it's a 3-degree difference as Napa and Sonoma. So in that aspect, you're identical. Napa gets probably 80% of their grapes or their juice and fruit from this region.
Ooh, did everyone hear that?
That is huge. So when you're buying that Napa wine, 80% of that Napa wine is not Napa wine, it's Lodi wine. Lodi.
So
well, the big variety is 85%.
Yeah.
So
that is absolutely incredible. Debra, question.
I love that. Oh, wow. Question. So if you were, I have an interesting question. Why do some houses have bubbles? So in other words, have a sparkling and others don't? Like, is there something that keeps winemakers or wineries away from doing this? Do you need more space? Because it's such an interesting, like, there's bubble clubs and then there's wineries that don't have any of it. So what makes you decide nix on the sparkling?
It's totally different. Yeah. You have to have a different bottling line. You have to have a different cellar. You have to have the fermentation. Everything's different.
Higher workman's comp for those in the eye cork incidences.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Well, we actually were in Niagara up in Ontario, and they were showing us how they bottle the bubbling, and it really was like it was kind of dangerous. There were bottles bursting, and we were looking at each other going, "Wow, no wonder sparkling costs so much more. This is a dangerous business." So that's interesting. So you need to create a whole new space. So that totally makes sense. I love it. Thanks.
So last question, we're going to try to wrap this up so you ladies can get on to the business of taking care of the wine, because those little grapes need TLC so they can make it over here. But my question is, I would love to hear your perspective a little bit about the 2015 growing season, because this has been dramatically different from anything it sounds like we've experienced in a while. And there's some beauty that's going to come out of this, some hardship and some beauty.
Yeah, the drought has definitely hurt the tonnage that we usually get. We're down about 40%
Wow.
Per acre. Our yield is down about 40%. The last, and we have nothing. We do nothing different, so we have to account it to the drought. So, but the quality of grapes are excellent, so that's the positive of it. But we would definitely like to see some rain very soon.
We're supposed to rain tonight, so.
Oh yay! We'll do a little rain dance. I'll send some down from Seattle because we've had a good amount up here. So, do you recoup the cost of that 40% loss in the cost of the wine? So in other words, because the grapes had to, do you, no, look at you, you're like, no. No.
Beans and rice.
So we're going to be doing beans and rice pairing for 2016, right?
Oh,
you better start working on that.
I adore you too. That is so freaking awesome. Beans and rice.
But I would think, so for those who are listening out there, the vintage is 2015. Well, is it going to be 2015? We know the grapes are 2015. When it's bottled, will that be considered a 2015 as well?
The harvest.
Okay, so we know that those little vines and those little grapes have just struggled their butts off to procure as many flavors and aromas as possible. So might these be one of the best vintages?
They could possibly be. Yeah.
Could be.
Wow. Oh, did your eyes just cross, Debra?
I just went, ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait to try it.
That sounds amazing. It absolutely sounds amazing. Okay. Debra does our wrap for the show. So any more questions?
I think we are good. We could go on for hours talking about this industry, but I think
absolutely.
That's the wrap. So thank you everybody who joined us today for this fabulous wine blab. As always, we love to connect with you in between our shows. So feel free to reach out to us at Women on Wine TV on all the major social channels. And to keep us connected in between, also use the hashtag #PoundWomenOnWine. If you loved the wines we're talking about today, or you have a favorite, feel free to share those with us as well. We are always excited to meet and greet new wine as well as new community members. So thank you so much again. Cheers to everyone. May the wine in your glass be divine like our Lodi wine is today. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. And last but not least, go to oakridgewinery.com right now and buy their OZB, OZV, OZGs, and their OZV, and their Old Soul Pinot, and their Silk Oak, because it will give you a silk road with which to glide your life by.
Absolutely.
Buy the wines right now.
Yes, we always put links to the different wines we're tasting, so we will make sure everybody has links in the blog post. So after the show is over, we will put the link to all of that information in the chat so that you can connect with us and follow along going forward.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Salute.
Au revoir.